Hi everybody. This video I am going to explain the subject Internet Programming. In this subject Internet Programming, the second unit, that is client-side programming. So in that client-side programming, we have discussed to 5 chapters. Now we are going to explain about the 6th chapter. So DHTML with JavaScript. So already we discussed in that JavaScript a lot of topics. So in this topic, for DHTML, that is dynamic HTML. So what is the main objective of this dynamic HTML? So in that web page, have to accessing, controlling, and manipulating the HTML elements in web pages. Whatever is how the web pages. So these topics fully were studied about the JavaScript. What is the main concept of the JavaScript to study? Okay. Now, so DHTML with JavaScript, the dynamic hypertext markup language. So this is one of the most popular uses of JavaScript in DHTML. Okay. It's combination of HTML and JavaScript. The DHTML is the combination of HTML and JavaScript. So this DHTML is using JavaScript to modify the cascade style state of HTML elements. Already we have studied CSS concept, already HTML concept. But this DHTML, by using the JavaScript to modify the style state of the HTML elements, mainly have to use. The DHTML can change the visibility, position, and contents, background color, the insert text value, clipping, and size of the already positioned elements. All have to change using the DHTML. Normally, the DHTML is the combination of several built-in browser features in 4th generation browser. Actually, there is mainly enabled a web page to more dynamic. So that's only we are using this to study about the dynamic HTML. Now, what is the difference between HTML and DHTML? Okay, one by one. First, a plain page without any style and scripts called as HTML. You have to see any example previous topics, This is see the example programs. Okay, the plain page without any style and script is called as HTML. You know, a page with HTML and CSS and document object model and scripts are called as DHTML. This is a basic difference between HTML and DHTML. Okay, the page with HTML, CSS, that is Cascade styles, and document object model DOM, and scripts is called as DHTML. Okay, this is the basic difference. So another one difference, the HTML site will be slow upon client-side technology. It is very slow in HTML. While the DHTML site will be fast enough upon client-side technology. Compared to HTML, this DHTML is very fast. Okay. Next, third difference. The HTML stands for only static pages. It is referred as a static. Okay. So DHTML is named itself dynamic. So dynamic HTML means HTML plus JavaScript. Hence it is referred to as a dynamic HTML. Okay. These are some of the basic difference between HTML and DHTML. Next, so what are the components of DHTML? So the components we have to already discussed. That is HTML is one of the components, and CSS, Cascade style sheet, and DOM, scripting, and document object model. These are the components used in DHTML, JavaScript. First, HTML. So normally this HTML is to define the structure of a web page. Then assume any one web page, there is HTML is define the structure of the particular page by using basic elements such as heading, forms, tables, paragraphs, and links. Okay. Next, second one, CSS, that's Cascade Style Sheet. It is a style sheet which controls the formatting of HTML elements. First, you know the concept of HTML. So, what is the use of HTML? Then, forward to CSS. This style sheets control the formatting of the HTML elements. Okay. So, this style sheet is used to specify the page margin, the size of the point leading. Okay. It mainly is to determine the procedures and resolve the conflict when multiple styles are used. Suppose somebody is using multiple style sheets. So in that time, there is facing the problem, there is conflict problem. To overcome this problem by using this DHTML. Okay. Next one, that is scripting. So scripts provide the mechanism to interpret user actions and procedure in client-side changes to a program. These are all the processes under them where it is doing so on client side. Okay. And only for client-side programming. Okay. That is, this DHTML can communicate with several scripting languages, but Javascript is widely used. Okay. The next one, that is DOM, Document Object Model. That is, Document Object Model is specify the outline web page content in a way that make it possible for HTML element. This is a style sheet and scripting language to interact with each other. Okay. So these all are some of the concepts going to include these DHTMLs. Next, that is positioning elements in DHTML. So there are two types of positioning elements in DHTML. First one, absolute and relative. Absolute position is always to place an element are used in anywhere except to the web pages. Normally this absolute position only you are using this in all the fields. Okay. Relative position is element based on the offset value. It is not used anywhere. So the absolute position is very important. It is used to all the purpose of the web designing. You have to use the DHTML. So next, one by one, the JavaScript and Cascade Style Sheet, that is CSS. So CSS, already we have studied previous topic studied CSS all things. That CSS is a standard way to define the presentation of the DHTML pages. Okay, so mainly it is focused on the presentation for a particular web page. Font and color to the complete layout of the page. You have to assume any web pages, see the structure and style, font, size. Totally you have to the presentation. That is very important for the particular page. For this purpose, much more efficient than using HTML. You already know. Okay. For this file is termed as cascading style sheet because of two reasons. Cascading. Because of two reasons. One style sheet can cascade or have influence over multiple pages. So one style sheet can cascade for multiple pages. Similarly, many CSS files can define a single page. Okay, many CSS file can define a single page. Okay. So this style sheet is more important features of DHTML. Okay. That is a cascade style sheet has various style properties. There are three ways in implement the site. First one is use one CSS file for all pages. And use the all pages, use the CSS file. Second, for get of each of the documents to integrate by using the CSS commands. Okay. Next, third one, use the style attributes to put the CSS code directly into the HTML element. So these are the three concepts we are going to implement the HTML. In that, another one topic, that is grouping elements in CSS. Grouping elements. So before that, just see one about the advantages of CSS. The page download faster, less code, and the pages are shorter and neater. The look of the site is very consistent throughout the page that work with the same style sheet. Updating the design and general site, that is maintenance, are made much easier from CSS. Okay. The maintenance are very easier to handle the CSS. These are advantages of CSS. Next, we are going to discuss about grouping elements in CSS. The grouping elements that used in CSS. Here you are use another concept going to include, that is grouping elements. So what are the grouping elements that you see in CSS? The first element, and span. So within this bracket, it is used to add a visual features. Suppose we want to add visual features in particular page, use these elements, so the span. Visual features to specify the parts of text in your documents. Another one, so div concept. Div. So the div is used to group one or more black level elements to form a level of blacks by using this div elements. These are two elements used in CSS. Okay. So small example program for changing text using DHTML. Changing text using DHTML. So first you see the flow of the program. You know the basic concept. That is HTML tag, head, title, script type, alert output message, and script closed, and the head closed. Already head open and head closed. Already head open and head closed. So no, it's a basic concept. Now the body open. In this, use one function, that is online equal to start function. By using the function to explain. By using this here also ID, PID. Is assume the message that is welcome to our page. Okay. Then close this body. Suppose execute this output. Execute this program. They get the output for this like that. So this is the output. Welcome to our page. Okay. Now I will explain through online editor for this program. I will explain this program to the online editor. So this is the online editor. I will copy and paste this program. So this is our program. Just run this program. We'll get the output. Welcome to our web page. Okay. But this is see the program. You know, these are basic tags. Already all the concepts that you studied. So using one function, that is on load equal to start. So this start functions go to have to call to the first particular function, start function, and by using this text.innerText, which will display the output. Let's welcome to our web page, or a particular web page. So whatever you have to use this current web page, it will give the message welcome to our web page. So this is the output. Okay. So these are some of the basic concepts we are used to do. The basic concept we have to use this program. Okay. So once again you see this program. This core of the program that is called as Javascript and some other programs. Basic concept of this program. Welcome to our page. Here in this program you have to see the basic outline. By using this start function, you have to call this start function. This is a keyword. This is a start function. Then by using this inner.txt, by calling here to display the output. Welcome to our web page. Okay. So this is an example program for this particular concept. Okay. Then we are going to next topic. Dynamic style. Dynamic style. Next topic, that is next concept, that is dynamic styles. That is dynamic styles is one of the concepts we are using for DHTML, dynamic hypertext markup language, HTML. Okay. So here these element styles can be changed dynamically. That is basic concept. You have to know the concept of the dynamic. Okay, already we have discussed. So such changes made responsive for the user events. The user handling event process. So each and every dynamic HTML object model also allow to changes the class attributes of an element. For in the HTML, we have used a number of elements in the form of tag. So each and every attributes of the elements have to change. The dynamic HTML object is allowed to change the attributes of the particular elements. So instead of changing many individual styles at a time, Okay. Just like that, next one, dynamic positioning. So in that dynamic positioning also is another one concept for used in DHTML. That is, X HTML elements can be positioned with the scripting. Here it is X positioning and the positioning with the scripting. So this is done by declaring an element, that is CSS, cascade style with position property, to be either absolute or relative, and then moving the elements by manipulating any of the top or left or right or bottom CSS properties. You use this dynamic positioning. You have to use the elements to move the elements from the output statements. You have to manipulate any of the top or right or left or bottom properties. Okay. That is one example program for this dynamic programming, sorry, dynamic positioning. So see the core of the program. The first line, you know the concept, that is HTML head and title. The title is source is represent the title of the website. Okay. Then you know the script type text. You know the concept. Next, the variable to speed 5, count 10, direction 1. So first line, text growing. Then that is font style and scan selfie, the name of the, and next the declare the values. For I have to use the functions also. Function, start function. So to use the start function name is called as function start, and with the style value, count value. Then there is window size, and the function another one function is called as run function. Then that is count equal to speed. By using this if statement, you have to calculate either yes or no, is either possible or not. You have to display the color and all the things. Okay. Then to value compare to the another one. Suppose yes means is either some text value and will be source. Suppose condition false means to put the next statement. That is first line and count plus. Okay, by using this inner HTML to display the value. Okay, then close this script and head. Then see the output of this program. By using the function start, the calling this function, then get to display the output like that. So this is the output for this basic output. This shows the output, that text growing. Then we have to see the font size. So font size is increased, automatically this text is also growing. See the next output. See the next output. Now see this font size 190 pixel. So automatically it increase the size of the text. That is the output. But now see the font size 65. The text font size is that is minimized. That is maximized. It's automatically growing of the what is the text. This is the output of this particular program. That is a dynamic positioning. The position will be changed dynamically. Its lowest font size means the font size automatically is going to growing. Value. And suppose the font size is increase means automatically this font size also increase. Okay, it's based on the font size, it's growing of the text. That is the basic concept of this program. Okay. So next, another one concept by used to that DHTML. So tabular data control. Tabular data control. So the tabular T in short form TDC. It is used in ActiveX controls. That is added to a page with an object element. So and every page you have to use this ActiveX control by using the ActiveX control. So by using the elements, it will display the values for particular tabular values and all the auxiliary functions. Okay. But suppose you have to use the storage data. So the data are stored in a separate file and will not be part of the HTML document. Okay. But this TDC is only accessing the data from DSO. That's a data storage object. You have to use for following properties. So class is specific. The TDS2 added the web page and parent tag, classic and parent, that uses two properties, parent tag, class ID tag. So first class ID specify the TDC to be added to the page. Next second tag is specify the parameter for the object in the form of name value. Okay. Some of the parameters taken by TDC, this is tabular data control. First parameter, that use 4 parameters: data URL, use header, text qualifier, field name. So every parameter has some of the applications. Data URL of the data source. So use header and all if the value is based on the yes or no condition, true or false condition, text qualifier. So both end of the field, the character is qualified now, and field so separate between different data fields. See the one of the example programs for the Tabular data control. So this is output of this Tabular data control, this program. You see. So now I will explain through online editor this program. So I will explain through online editor. I have prepared the program. For the Tabular data control. The copy and paste the online editor. So this is a program. Guys, I have used some. I have explained the param statements and some of the additional features. There is inputs, type, buttons. So see the output of this program. This is XML, text, color code, color table that you suppose previous, next, last. Okay. So this is the output of this program. Okay. So next we are going to discuss about next topic, that is binding to an image. Binding to an image for this particular web page. So in that there is many different types of HTML elements. For instance, image can be bound to a data page. So in that images are bind with the data set by modifying the SRC. Already you have to study the concept of SRC. SRC attributes of the image. For this in a general format, for this image data, IMG image data SRC equal to, that is take the image from file and data of the data SRC. It is a general format for regarding this function. Binding to a table and starting the data table. So in that subtopic to study, tables could also be binded to the data source and source. So it's the concept of this program. You will explain the example program for this binding to an image. We see the output of this program. Sorting data. This is an output program. I will show the program through online editor. Okay. Already I have to program. I have to copy and paste to online editor. That is some other function. Whatever we have to discuss the previous program, some additional one or two concepts that we included. Okay. Now run this program, you will get the output. Okay. This is the output of this particular program for binding an image to a particular web page. So next topic. Structured graphics and ActiveX control. Structured graphics and ActiveX control. For this ActiveX control, these parts of this structured graphics control is an ActiveX control that can be added to the page with an object element. Okay. It is easily accessible through scripting. Already we have to study the scripting concept. All the programs used for the concept program easily accessible through the scripting. The structured graphics control is a web interface. It's a web interface. So that is used for visual presentation. That is used for the visual presentation. And this structured graphics control facility is the creation of simple shape by using functions that can be called via scripting or through the parent tag inside the object elements. Okay. Here some of the functions use this ActiveX control, the structures of ActiveX control, some of the functions. First, see some of the functions that are used. The sample functions for set line color, set line style, set fill color, set fill style, and oval. Another some of the functions, arc and pipe, polygon, rectangle, round rectangle, set cont, polyline. By using these functions, you have to set this program. By each functions have to descriptions have to this table. Okay. Then it's another one concept, the path sequencer and split ActiveX control. For any direct animation, path control allows to control the position of the element on the page. For this example, assume any web page, you have to control the position of the element. You have to use this path sequencer and split ActiveX control. So direct animation path of control access through this DHTML concept. Okay. The path control and the sequence control, the split control, all these control statements are used to allow a web page designer to add certain multimedia effect to web pages, add some multimedia effect for a particular website. Okay. The mechanism is more advantageous than dynamic cascade style sheet positioning, because it allows to define path that the target elements follow. The capacity to define the path gives the ability to create professional presentations, especially when integrated with other dynamic HTML features such as filters and transactions. Okay. Here also we have used some of the methods and the description. The methods, see the methods have to use this topic, that is repeat, duration, bounce. This is my methods. Another one, some of the methods, the polyline, target, and time maker, wait in time action, play. Some methods have used this play sequence control. So see the description also. Okay. So see some of the advantages and the disadvantages of ActiveX controls. So these advantages in the platform control, ActiveX scripting, and easy to use and easy to find. So the disadvantages, require user to download something. So system vulnerability, built-in malware, spyware, and only compatibility with Microsoft programs. Okay. Then some of the possible questions. These are sequence of the questions. So this is a repeated. Let's take some questions. Okay. Thank you for watching this video. Okay, thank you.